All right, everybody, welcome. This is season 3, episode 16 of Motivate Me 313's podcast. We are officially live and back in the studio. Our last show was done virtually with our cousin Aisha and Shed, who was in North Carolina. So we had to make sure that we went live virtually for last week, and it went well. Appreciate those two guests for coming on the show. But let's talk about today's show. First of all, let's introduce the people who are in the building. Let's start off with little big bro Yusuf Thabit on the ones and twos. We appreciate him in the back doing his thing. To the right of me, we got Sada T. She's in the building. One of my sisters, and my other sister is Abida T. She's to the left of me as well. Of course, did I introduce myself? Omar T. You know, you guys, Omar T here. And then our guest for today is Samar. Clap it up for Samar. She's in the building. She got a loud round of applause right there. You know, the crowd's been waiting. The crowd's been waiting to give us a round of applause. Shout out to Samar. She's in the building today. And today's show is titled A Mother's Love, Torn Between Two Sons. We're going to dive into this conversation today. Shout out to Dr. Kamal for getting us connected. We appreciate him. He's the one that got this whole connection going. And as soon as he mentioned it to me, I was like, for sure, let's make it happen. Read the article, and I was like, oh my God, this is one of those stories that need to be told. Already been told, but now this is maybe in a different platform. So looking forward to what Samar has to say throughout her and her family's journey. And so we're going to definitely, listen to what she has to say. Before we dive into the story, though, I do want to say be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. If you want to call in, the number is 313-306-1750. Again, 313-306-1750. The sponsors, the Balkan House, Juice Box, Qahwah House, BC Adhesives, Specialty Medical Center, and Hanley International Academy. I want to start off by giving a shout out to Specialty Medical Center. Shout out to Yusuf and Madrahi and everybody over there at Specialty. And then we're going to officially get this show on the road. So again, shout out to Specialty Medical Center. Then let's get the show started. All right, Yusuf. So the other day I was playing basketball with my friends, doing what I usually do on the court. But as I was driving to the lane, I kind of hurt my knee.
Oh, man, not again.
Yeah, but this time I knew which place to go to that would take care of me the best. And that is Specialty Medical Center. Specialty Medical Center is a medical center that prides itself on patient care and its rehabilitation services. Their primary focus is developing a customized treatment plan unique to each individual patient's needs. Their center offers a full range of patient care, from diagnostic testing, pain management, physical therapy, regenerative medicine solutions, and surgical care. They currently have 2 locations, one in Dearborn and one in Sterling Heights. So if you're looking for a place that treats your medical needs the best, be sure to stop by Specialty Medical Center. All right, we're officially back and ready to get this show on the road. Just like I said, looking forward to hearing what the guest has to say. So first I want to start off with you, Samar. How are you? I know you traveled from Indiana. How's Indiana going? And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, what's your 9 to 5? What do you do? And everything else in between before we even dive into the family story.
Well, first of all, assalamu alaikum, and thank you for having me here. It's really an honor, and may Allah make this blessing and this message be sent to somebody that really, really wants it, or somebody that is in need. And inshallah would be a sadaqah jariyah for all of us, inshallah. A little bit background about myself. I was born and raised here in Michigan.
Okay.
And after I got married, my husband and I, we moved to Indiana. I'm a nurse, and he was studying in Indiana, so we liked it there. We live in a small town called Bloomington. It's a college town.
University of Indiana,
Yes.
located in Bloomington.
Yes. It's a forest lake island. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We love the atmosphere there, and it's sightseeing. It's we thought this is it.
It's a good place to start a family.
Yes. It's
Is there any other Arab?
Well, when I first 9 years ago when I moved down, I was the only Yemeni there.
Wow.
Yeah. And it felt so weird to go to the pharmacy and tell them my last name, and they didn't have to scroll down and give them more information. It was just like my last name. So it was beautiful. But then, alhamdulillah, more Yemeni students start coming in and families. So there's a very good Muslim community, which is like international, more from out of country, like from Saudi, Kuwait, Turkey. There's a lot of
good mix. I like that.
beautiful. And we're all gathered in one small masjid that looks like a house.
And you probably take care of it, and you guys are like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
We
that's
call
very
it the Nana's house. Like on Fridays we meet there, and like our kids meet together, and we have a kitchen. We cook there. Students
How
like
cute.
they know whenever they're hungry, there's food in the fridge.
nice. Oh my god.
Yeah, and Ramadan, like we don't cook at home every day. There's a sponsor, like especially like from Saudi and thing that they sponsor,
Wow.
like iftar dinner
for the whole community.
for the whole community.
Like around how? Like what's the number? The amount of people? Just curious.
With give and take, I would say around probably 5,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
But
That's a
not
lot.
all of them attend.
Right.
Yeah, but if like people that attend to the masjid are more like the people are family oriented, like they have kids, and this is how it is. I want my kids to be around other Muslim
Yes.
kids, but students are mostly like there for like iftar or Eid, events.
Nice,
events.
man.
And there's like a MSA group that's sponsored from IU to the masjid. So our Eid is sponsored by the university.
Wow,
Like their
subhanallah.
iftar and everything. It's like by the Indiana University because of the Muslim Student Association.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Like I can't ask for anything else. And
And I bet like a lot of your families don't live in Indiana, so it's like you guys are family together.
yeah,
Because that's how it started off in like in Michigan back in the day.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our family was back home, and like our neighbors were our family basically.
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, subhanallah.
That's so nice.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
I'm sorry we cut you off with that. But what else about you? Tell us a little bit more. Sorry.
Well, like I said, I graduated here from nursing school, and I started working at IU, but then I had my son Uwais, and it was high risk pregnancy, so I had to stay at home. And ever since then, I've been a full-time mom.
MashaAllah.
yeah.
Mubarak.
Yeah.
It is a full-time job for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and like they have to have their time. Like after when they start going to school, they're gonna develop like another personality. They're gonna introduce other people to their life. You're not gonna be the center of their attention. So this is the time where you can have me time. Like while they're in school, you do you. You either go to work or look at yourself. You take care of yourself. So by the time your kids come home, you're already fully charged for them. And not like, mix your emotions and throw it at them. It's not their fault,
I like that.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely
And
agree
that's a
with that.
privilege. Sometimes,
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Everything in life is privilege. Like it's like whatever I'm going through, and like it's other people can watch us right now and say, "Oh, she's so lucky," but you probably have something that I can say you're lucky about too.
100%.
So nobody is perfect in any way. It's just alhamdulillah. Yani, you have to-
Everybody's challenges are different too. So.
yes, that's why you say alhamdulillah for everything, because whatever throws in your way, take it.
Yeah.
And before we even dive in, by the way, we already got the deep conversations already started on the introduction. Just want to check in with both of my sisters as well. Just want to say hello and what's new and anything you want to mention or what are you looking forward to today and hearing the stories.
I'm so excited. Just by her introduction just shows how humble she is and how close she is to God. So I'm like already looking up to you, and I'm excited to hear what you're
Thank
going to
you.
say. But alhamdulillah, I'm doing good.
Are you teaching in class after this show? I mean, you look like you're in teaching
Like I'm a
mode right now.
professor.
Yeah. Abid, what's good? What's going on with you?
Alhamdulillah, we're on break. I still have a week left before going back to school. So I'm trying to, savor every minute. I teach 5th grade, so
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
challenging.
All right. So let's get started with, can you tell us like the story? I mean, I was looking at the day, I believe October 9th, maybe leading up to October 9th and then 2021, I'm assuming, or 2022.
2020.
2020, October 9th, 2020. Okay, so October 9th, 2020, I guess leading up to that day and then on the day of what exactly happened and how did your life change on October 9th, 2020?
Well, it started before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, give us the pre.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was 8 months pregnant with my baby boy, Salim. I was 8 months pregnant when Awais started having symptoms like throwing up here and there and not feeling himself. And then, as a mom, like, everybody tells you different things, like, oh, he's having that phase. All kids are like that, he's not going to want to eat today and he's going to throw up stomach bug, and you get people from Yemen calling you and telling you, twist his stomach, do this, do that,
And how old was he always, by the way? At
He
this
was
time?
2.5.
2.5.
2.5 years old, yeah.
And you're 8 months pregnant and he was
I
2.5 years
8
old.
months pregnant, yeah. Going to my 9th month. And then...
then you probably read the internet, and the internet's telling you something else, and you're like...
It's not reading the internet, because when you're a medical profession,
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
the
true,
worst
nurse.
thing, because a lot of things, like, you have an empty space and you can fill it in with all the worst case scenarios except cancer, because that was like, no, what is that? Even the doctors, like, they misdiagnosed him for 2 months because that was like the last thing to expect, and then he got worse until like we went to the park. And then we were having picnic with my friends, and all the kids were in the park, around the swings, and they were all like, there's like a group of them. And then from far away, I can see this dog and the owner of the dog walking towards the park, like coming on the track. And then the dog just started barking, like going crazy. And then we're like, oh God, why would he bring a dog to, where there's kids?
Yeah.
Kids zone. And then the dog, all I see is the dog flew to the kids and going straight to Awais. Like, from all those codes, he went to Awais and he just pushed him out of like nowhere, and then he flew to the woods. And then my son just started getting up, and I ran to him, and then he started crippling from there. And then I was like, okay, maybe he fractured or twisted or thing. I took him to the doctor. They did a scan, x-ray, and they were like, oh, there's nothing's probably a sprain. But since then, he started crippling, like walking weird, and like not walking, and every day got worse until the point where his knees clenched together, like he was walking like his magnet, both knees, the left and the right, like they were magneted together. And he started like throwing up more, and then starting feeling more pain at night. So I'm here saying he's probably like acting out because his brother's coming, or he's starting having those emotions. But I still remember, like, he was in so much pain, and here I am putting hot packs and cold packs, take him to doctor, nothing. And then
They're doing x-rays, his bones are fine.
nothing, everything was fine. They did blood work. It looked like he had inflammation. They were like, oh, it's probably like he had a virus, HRV, and then once he started getting worse, they were like, oh, it's rheumatitis, juvenile rheumatitis. So they started giving him steroids. And steroids is part of the chemo treatment. So his body, Awais' type of cancer, it's Burkitt's leukemia lymphoma. We started Burkitt's lymphoma, but because I don't want to go back and like say, I didn't even like say, oh, why? But they started giving him steroids to treat the rheumatitis. But the steroids was part of the chemo treatment, and his cancer is one of the aggressive cancer that duplicates every 24 to 72 hours.
Wow.
So his body literally was saying, oh, you're shooting me with small guns, I'm going to duplicate. So by the time they diagnosed Awais, it was already metastasized through his body, literally to his sinuses. So, and then he got sick like a week before I went to labor. He got really, really sick. And where I live, there's no pediatric, like children's hospital. We have to drive all the way to the downtown with the city, the capital, which is like an hour and 40 minutes where we live. So my husband took him, and they told him, he slept for 3 days, and then they told him, oh, his kidneys are enlarged, and that's the like blood work, nothing indicated with just inflammation, nothing. And then they were like, there's so many other like factors that can lead to his kidneys why they're enlarged.
So right now they haven't really told you it's cancer.
There's no cancer.
Okay.
Like, part of the option, like, to know which one of the diagnosis is to do a biopsy. And here I am as a mom, I'm like, you're not touching my son. I know as a medical professional, once you go in and take a thing. There's always a complication, especially with the kidney. I was like, no biopsy needed. Just treat what you can treat. They were like, it's probably genetics. It's probably from the Motrin, because he was taking Motrin with an empty stomach because he wouldn't eat. So there was a lot of other things. So we started sticking out to the steroids. Until I went.
He probably was immune to the steroids to the point where like it wasn't helping anything anyways. Like by the time.
No, because the steroids was just giving him more duplication. Yeah.
It was helping the cancer.
Yeah. And then he came back home, and then before I went to labor, he had another follow-up with one of the doctors. So I went with him to Indianapolis, and subhanallah, that one day we went inside the lab, but before we walked into the lab, there was a kid. He's probably was around 13, 14, and he was standing there with his dad, I think, waiting for lab. But he looked like a cancer patient. It looked like a cancer patient. And subhanallah, wallah al-azim, that day, before I walked into the door, I just stood there and I looked at him. I was staring at him blindly, like, until the point, like, his dad, he was like, hey, why you're looking at, because I was just looking at him. In that moment, I knew deep down something inside of me telling me the answer to what's going on to your son, it's cancer.
Like Allah's nabbihing you in a way.
It's not about nabbihing. It's like I knew, but I was trying to deny it because no, there's no proven fact. But as a mom instinct, I knew. Yani, subhanallah. And I walked into the lab and no. Denied. Until I went to labor, I was at the hospital where we live, and my son was at home with my husband. And then the second day I was in the hospital, my husband calls me and he was like, Uwais is completely shut. He's not moving his fingers. He's not opening his eyes. He's very like, I need to take him to the emergency.
And you're literally in labor.
Second day I was like post-op.
Oh my God.
And then he was like, I can't, he's not stopping throwing up. That's the only thing that he is doing right now is throwing up. And then I was like, okay, just take him. Call ambulance. He was like, no, I'm not going to call. I'm going to drive him there. Literally, he drove halfway and he had to call an ambulance halfway because the kid wouldn't stop throwing up and how he would drive and throwing up. The second day, that day, I left AMA out of the hospital and I gave my infant to my mom. And then I was like, I have to go see my son. There's no way. I was like, take care of him and hoping that I would be back from Salim. So I called my dad and I had alhamdulillah, my parents. Like this time, like with Uwais, I gave birth to him in Michigan. I came to my parents, to sit with my mom and my dad because my first son, I don't know.
Your nifas.
Yeah, in my nifas days. But this time I decided like, no, I want to have it at my house. So mom, come stay with me for 2 weeks.
Especially with the two kids, like it's a lot easier.
Yeah, and my environment. So it's easier for you to come down than me taking my whole life.
Family.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, my parents were in town for my birth. And I called my dad and I was like, come take me to Indianapolis. I can't stay in the hospital. I need to go. When I went, Uwais was already in the emergency room and subhanAllah, having like little flashbacks. He was in the emergency room and they said they have to do an ultrasound. The kid was already like laying down like out of this world. Like I walked in, I did not see my son. I saw somebody totally different. Like Uwais was full of life. And alhamdulillah, mashallah alayhi, he was full of life. Like nothing can bypass him. He is so brilliant, so smart, very active. And mashallah, yani, like to tell you like Uwais, like, your first child, like that's like, you want to do everything. Like my son, he worshipped Uwais. Like my husband, he worshipped Uwais.
Yeah.
Because that's like literally, like his clothes were organic. I never gave them candy or thing. When we come to Michigan, my sisters give their kids, and I'm like, please don't, I want to raise my kid the way. His food was never in the microwave to prevent radiation.
Yeah.
I was protecting him But subhanallah, Allah was like, who do you think you are? You know, that's how I looked at it after the fact. Because I was trying to thinking I'm his guide, astaghfirullah al-azim. At that moment, like, this is how I was looking at it. And once, like, your child like that, not even...
Out of your hands.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? I walked in and I was like, they were like, okay, we have to do ultrasound. Automatically, khalas, by that time, they started doing ultrasound. The technician couldn't even finish. She just looked, and then she went and got the radiologist to come and finish. The radiologist, he was like, I need to call a CAT scan really quick. Ala tul, it was proven that it's cancerous because it was already metastasized to his pancreas, his liver, his kidneys. Yani it was already like out there. Like there's nothing else showing except cancerous. And I knew the environment, what was going on based on like, their motion and how they were looking and thing, but nobody directly yet told me like thing. So we're like, oh, we have to admit him. And so they took us to a regular internal medicine floor and everything. And then the rheumatologist doctor, she came in and with other doctors and that. And I was like, And then one of the doctors start pulling the chair, and me, my husband, and this was during COVID. So no parents, only one parent was allowed in the hospital. But because it was like newly diagnosed, so they wanted both parents to be there. So my husband and I, we were sitting, and they sat us down, and this is in the room while Uwais is laying down in the bed. And then the doctor, the attending, he was like, okay, the medical student can sit with Uwais to give him company, and we want to talk to you. He pulled a chair. As soon as he pulled the chair, I knew there was something.
Throughout this whole process of them doing all, what are you talking to your husband? Are you guys talking to each other?
No. Me, my husband didn't even dare to look at eye to eye because once we look in eye and eye, we know we're going to get answers from both of each other. So we're trying to avoid each other. And like I said, my husband worshipped Uwais. Like that was everything. If I needed anything, I would tell him Uwais wants it right away. It gets. Yeah, I mean, subhanallah, like the love for him, it was so different. And then my husband and I were sitting down, and then the doctor, he just, looked at us, and he was like, I'm sorry to say, your son has cancer. Like at that time, like subhanallah, that's when it really hits.
Your first question, like, what was your first question when he said that?
When he told me that, subhanallah, at that moment, God gave me the power to say, what's next? I was like, what's next?
Like, what do we need to do?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what's next? My husband passed out.
Oh,
he fell. At that moment, I knew the world was on my shoulder. Literally, the saying, the world is on your shoulder, it was me. Because I was like, I looked at Uwais, I looked at all these doctors, and I'm like, what are you saying? I'm like, okay, what's next? What's gonna happen? Like, okay, what thing? And then he was like, okay, they looked at me like, okay, you're ready for the step. I'm like, yeah, give me the steps. At that moment, they were like, okay, we have to move you to oncology floor, and we have to we have to do biopsies to see what type and how far and blah, 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 blah.
Is this the same hospital you took him to from the beginning?
Yeah.
With his
to Riley Children's Hospital, yeah. And then, subhanallah, khalas, at that moment, like, the bomb already dropped.
Yeah.
It's just like, how are you going to handle it? And
yeah. So he was then diagnosed with, I'll make sure I say this correctly, it's Burkitt lymphoma.
Burkitt's lymphoma, leukemia.
Leukemia. Okay, so Burkitt's lymphoma and leukemia. And so can you tell us a little bit about what is that and how common is it, for children to have it?
Okay, Burkitt's it's Burkitt's lymphoma.
Burkitt's lymphoma.
Yeah, for Caucasians, they normally get it around their intestines, their liver, their kidneys, mostly their kidneys. For African Americans, they get it around their jaw, and it's mostly common in children. So they're normally in the jaw, in the lymph nodes, or the kidney lymph nodes. But with Uwais, because it was already metastasized, it already went to his blood. So they diagnosed him Burkitt's lymphoma, leukemia. So his treatment, normally with Burkitt's leukemia and lymphoma, there's stages. There's stage to stage 6. Uwais was already stage 6. So, subhanAllah, on the floor, on the same time Uwais was getting treatment, there was another girl, a 4-year-old, with the same diagnosis, but hers was Burkitt's lymphoma. It was only in her kidneys, and they caught it really quick. So her treatment was only 2 months. And she had to do, like, dialysis. Uwais's treatment was 8 months straight. Like, back to back. Like, there was no time to even leave the hospital. Like, 18 days, and then week you give chemo, and then week to wait for his blood count to drop, like all his cells to die, and then a week for the side effects to start coming, like the chemo start coming out of his body. And then once his counts start coming back up, and then they shoot him again. Doctors themselves, they call it, we're shooting your son with nuclear weapons. They were like, there's, because it's how aggressive it is, we have to go faster and more aggressive than the cancer. So they were shooting him with every different angles, like literally, like every 3 days they would have to like sedate him, and then give him chemo through his spinal cord. Like, I would have to hold him while they're taking out samples and shooting chemo through his spinal cord. And then once they start giving him the chemo, and then he started getting sick, they have to put him in ICU because they over give him the painkillers. Like, there's nothing more they can give his size and his age more. So they have to like put him to sleep until his body recovers, and they just put their hands up, and they're like, it's time for Uwais to show us what's next. Yeah.
So, well, first of all, we got Iwana said hi, and then Ebony Jackson said, so sorry to hear that. So going off of that, let's talk more about, the whole 8-month, chemotherapy and the whole process. Like, how was it? How was Uwais, taking it? And also, how was it for the family? I know you're obviously not seeing your other son throughout this, probably most of the time throughout this whole process, and your parents, your husband, like how was that like draining, I guess, or just on the minds of your family?
Well, alhamdulillah that I get to sit down right now and tell you guys, alhamdulillah, Uwais is doing good, alhamdulillah. Allahumma lak alhamd, this is a miracle. Like, Uwais is a miracle child to now, because what he went through, it's...
How hard was it on him, especially?
It was very, very hard. Like a 2-year-old, what did he do in life? Like, he doesn't know nothing but to play and mom and dad. There's nothing. Like, but what, especially the first 3 months, they were the hardest. Like, wallah, there's nothing in this world can take to see what he was going through. To the point, like, I had to contact like so many like different shuyukh to tell me, like, I know, like, once we get sick, it's dhanub trying to come out of our souls, and hamal dhanubna, alhamdulillah, tuhur and everything. But he's a 2.5. What did he do? Astaghfirullah al-azim, was alhamdulillah, Allahumma lak alhamd, through the whole time, I would never said, why me? Why my child? The thing, but alhamdulillah, Allahumma lak alhamd, the whole time I was like, this is a test to me. Yeah. This is my pain. It's not his pain. I was trying to convince myself Uwais was not feeling any pain. It's my pain. It's the pain to my eyes. I need to see your son, his mouth is all burned down to his esophagus, and azakumullah, it's like pooping blood, peeing blood, and in burning his whole body. Your son changed from white kid to like completely burned black child, like African American. How they're so skinny, and I was taking bones, and he was mashallah alayhi mateen. He was good, and he clinched. He was paralyzed for 2 months. He was not moving and not walking. It was the hardest thing. And the other hand, it's like, here goes my infant that I did not only see one day. Like, I only saw him for 1 day with my mom, and I couldn't even breastfeed him because I was trying to pump, and then
even your body is so,
subhanallah, let me tell you, when they say you're put in the fight and flight zone, this is it. I remember Awais had, like, he was getting this one chemo, methotrexate. His body is only allowed to keep it in his body for 2 days. And the only way to excrete that chemical from his body is through pooping or peeing. But Awais was not eating. He was not moving. He was not walking. How is he going to think? The only thing, subhanallah, it's once we put him, the physical therapy, when they put him in the bike, the tricycle, he would like pedal. Like he would know how to pedal. But if you tell him move your legs, he can't. So subhanallah, what I had to do is just take his like IV poles with all his chemo and drugs and all that, and him and napkin and bags of when he throws up and everything. And here I am, I have C-section. I did C-section. Yeah. It was a C-section. And here I am, I'm tied up from my, I can't even lift up. But I was like, no, I have to help my son. I remember, like, subhanallah, I went to the bathroom and then I just closed my eyes and I pulled out my stitches so I don't feel that tightness in my stomach. I had to, and I didn't feel no pain. Yani, subhanallah, there was no pain. Alhamdulillah, yani Allah, when He gives you like usr, He gives you yusr.
Yeah.
He
doesn't give you more than you can bear. Allah knows you're a strong person.
There's no way, like I was constantly repeating the ayah in my head, like, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, yani Allah, yani you gave me this thing, just help me through it, let me get through this. And then I would take him and then put him and then go around the whole hospital with him so he can like get that out of the thing. The first 2 months he couldn't get it out of his body.
And what would happen to him when it doesn't come out?
He was burned. It was okay, so every 18 days he has to get a chemo, but he has to excrete the previous chemo. The first 2 months he couldn't excrete the chemo out of his body because he had so much cancer cells in his body. Like literally, they wouldn't show me his scans, the previous scans, because of his bones, how they're already like they were expunged because the cancer already ate all his bones. And yani subhanallah, yani they did not want me to lose hope, because as doctors they were like, as doctors we if it wasn't for you telling us like, okay, moving thing, there's nothing like your son proved to us. But we studied in medical school, like his oncologist, been an oncologist for almost 36 years. He, wallah al-azim, he had another job offer in Grand Rapids here in Michigan, and he took it before Awais. But he stayed an extra 2 months, not working in the hospital, but coming to rounds and taking care of Awais, because he was like, I need Awais. Because I know he was like, wallah al-azim, he would, every time he walks, he was like, this child is going to save lives one day. And I'm going to take care of him, because one day he will take care of me. And I'm not going to leave him. He's teaching me what my books never can teach me. Because khalas, they do what is the protocol. What the protocol told them to do, they're doing it. Other than that, they raise their hands and they were like, okay, it's up to you, Awais, now. Show us what you're going to think. There comes days, like especially at nighttime, where he codes and he goes bad, and they were like, Mom, there's nothing that we can do. Like it's up to Awais. And then the daylight comes and Awais comes back, and I'm like, come on, another day. And then when the sundown goes down, and I'm like, come on, another night, subhanallah.
I'm sorry, but that was very deep, laying the groundwork and the framework of the whole story. So we appreciate you sharing that. And definitely one of those things where, we just wanted to give people an understanding of what exactly. And I'm sure this was a 5-minute wrap up of.
I wanted to say, like, how about your husband? Were you guys taking turns? Was it like, did he have to work? Did he have to?
Well, my husband, he had to quit his job because with COVID, and he can't be around Awais and going to meet people, and he has an immune compromise. And then the other thing too, only one parent was allowed. with the patient.
Wow.
And the doctors, like, they were like, go home, you're postpartum, go home, let the dad. I'm like, don't you ever dare ask a mom to go home when her son's like this. Mentally and physically, I will be destroyed. I'm already here, and my son needs me. Awais was so attached to me. Like, literally, he would sleep and just, like, he has to sleep and he has to, like, feel my face. And the whole time he was in the hospital, he would sleep, like, with me next to him in the bed. My husband, like, the only time that he I allowed me to come, it's when I broke my back. I broke my back, subhanallah, that was Allah's way of telling me, go, you need a timeout. He had to break my back.
Like physically,
Physically.
Doing what?
Yeah, lifting.
Like, subhanallah, like,
You know, when you have a C-section, you're not supposed to lift.
Yeah.
Or walk upstairs or walk downstairs or do a lot of movement. Like, if it's even worse than a regular natural pregnancy.
Yeah. The doctors, literally, they would write on their notes to the nurses, mom, 30 minutes break. Like, the nurses come in, give mom 30 minutes break because she's refusing to go home. And then one day I was in the hallway driving around Awais, and then I came to lift him up from his tricycle, and then the nurses were in the nursing station, and I came to lift him up, and I heard my back, and then I just froze. I couldn't move. The nurses knew there was something wrong. I didn't want to scare Awais. Like, the whole time,
He was put before you.
the whole time I was just trying to be strong for him. Like, I was not trying to show him any weakness, because kids know, subhanallah, when they're in the mom's wound, like, they can feel fear. And I was not trying to give away, like, it's already physically, he can see what he's going through, and I don't want him to see that mom is also weak. So I'm like, I just stood still like this, and I was like, the moms, they knew, and then I was like, they came running to me, and I was like, just take Awais, just take him. They took him, and then two nurses lifted me up, and then we sat down, and then the night nurse, and she was like, I think you have to go home. You can't just, how are you going to take care of him? And I was like, no, I still can manage. But subhanallah, the morning came and I was already stiff. Like, literally, I can't even lift my finger because I was already broken. Like, I was just like this. So the doctors, they were like, that time the doctors, they were fighting with the administration, let dad also come. Because mom has a special condition, and dad can do the physical work, mom can do the emotional work for the son.
Yeah.
They refused because COVID. Yeah, so the night nurse, she snuck my husband in, so when we do the swap, it would be smoothly for Awais.
Yeah.
So she let him stay overnight, and in the morning, when Awais saw his dad, he started crying. Like, that's when we start noticing he missed him. But at that time, Awais already started to look like a cancer patient. I still remember when he started giving the chemo, he slept, and then his hair started mashallah, his hair was so thick and it was so silky, and he woke up, it's already on the pillow. I was like to the nurse, do you guys have anybody that can come and cut his hair? I don't want to see
that. Yeah.
I don't want to see that. And they called one of the specialists. They came, and they started thinking. And then Awais was looking at me like, "Mommy, why?" And I was like, "Awais, remember Ramadan? Subhanallah, during COVID, Ramadan, when everybody everybody in my family, the guys, they decided to go bald."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So subhanallah, I had something to refer. I'm like, Awais, remember when we had to go bald during Ramadan and thing? I'm like, this is, part of this, so the hair is going to sweat and everything. He just looked at me and he was like, okay, mom. It's like, he doesn't know. Like, when the doctors come in.
He trusted you.
Yeah. Like, the doctors had to come in and tell him, Awais, you have a bug in you that we have to kill really hard. And till now, he's OCD. Awais right now, when he plays with his friends, he has sanitizers everywhere.
Oh my God.
Because he's a fear of bugs or any kind of, before he eats, he washes his hands 7 times. because he's afraid. Like, that's how, like, kids stick things to their head.
Yeah, he probably never wants to ever go through that ever again. Like, who would want to go through that ever again,
Yeah.
you know?
Kids are resilient, but, you know, they say, oh, he's going to grow out of it. He's not going to remember. No, he's not remembering the pain. But wallah al-azim, the other day I was in the kitchen and then all I hear always is screaming. And then I was like, I ran to him and I was like, what's wrong? And he just like stood still right there on the TV and he was like, turn off the TV. I was like, why? And all I see is the St. Jude Hospital, Children's Hospital. And he's looking at it and as if he's like, Mom, no kids are supposed to be in the hospital. And I just like broke down right at that moment. I was like, he doesn't remember. Like even the small
How old is he right now?
He's 6. He just turned 6 December 1st. The things that we used to do in the hospital, like watch a movie or me reading him a book, and then he, like right now in school, and he was like, Mom, remember when I was a little kid and you used to do this? He never refers it back to the hospital. Or remember when the nurse, for 8 months, his best friends were nurses and doctors. Like, he was antisocial. After that, like, literally always just, like, these couple months started to, like, give comfort zone to other people. Like, he couldn't stay in school because everything was fearing. Like, he was fearing, like, falling. He was fearing, like, people moving by him. And, alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah.
Fahmi Hussein said this is one of the many reasons why the Prophet ﷺ says ummaktum abuk, respect, and he said alhamdulillah ala salama when you were mentioning your back situation. We are going to learn more about this whole story after our next ad. We're going to give a shout out to BC Adhesives, our friends out in Wisconsin, and then we're going to continue on. We're still talk about some of the difficult journeys and also some of the positive stuff that came out of this whole situation. So shout out to BC Adhesives.
I believe it's very important for every team to stick together. And what I do here at Oz Media to make sure we are all one glue is I stop by BC Adhesives.
انت من حق
I don't know
الجنة.
if that's what it is.
SubhanAllah.
Nah, Yusuf, it's not. But you can go to BC Adhesives for all your industrial adhesives needs. They do food packaging, book binding, product assembly, and many other industrial services. So if you're in need of adhesives for your business or having trouble with your current adhesives applications, you can contact them by phone 1-888-679-9825 or go to their website at www.bcadhesives.com.
All right, we're officially back. Like I said, this was going to be a deep conversation. Shout out to Samar. She's doing a great job with the whole conversation and kind of getting us through. Just want to check in right now with Sada and what's going on. Sada, everything okay? Like, share, you want to mention anything or share anything?
Can't talk right now.
All right, Abir,
I'm trying not to look at you so I don't get, I'm trying as much as I can, like, to not be emotional. Like I was telling you, subhanallah, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's to make you go through hardship and to remember, but not to remember the pain. Like the sensation, the pain that really, really hurts, it does not exist after the fact. Like when women give birth, they remember the whole process, but ask them, well, how did it feel? Wallah, none of them can tell you because it's unbearable. Subhanallah, if anybody can live with the same pain over and over, none of us could have existed because when Allah tests you, He tests you hard. That's why when inna ma'al usr yusr, you just have to believe that. The whole time I surrendered. Once my son coded and the doctors tell me there's nothing else we can do and everything, I just, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, that Allah gave me strength. And then just to go in a corner and just bow to Allah. And I'm like, Allah, please give me the sabr. Until, wallah al-azim, I was holding on to life through the whole time until he got really, really, really bad to the point, alhamdulillah, astaghfirullah, he was about to die, because they couldn't give him chemo because he need, and at that time, I was already timed out. I was already at home with a broken back. Imagine being far and to hear all these news and you are just talking to the doctors on phone and my husband's like, what am I supposed to do? What decision? And I'm sitting there and that time, I knew there was nothing else in my hand that I can do. It was all subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether I'm there or not there, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants him, He'll take him. He wants to keep him for me, He'll keep him for me. Subhanallah, yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once He gives you something, doesn't matter sickness, test through your life, marriage, car accidents, anything, any hardship that you think that you cannot handle, know for a fact Allah gave it to you because you're special. This is for you. This is a guest from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Treat it that way. An ugly guest. You know how we get sometimes guests that we don't like, but as you know, because نحن أصولنا and we have to, we can't just kick him out. يعني astaghfirullah azim, that's welcome them with a fake smile. Welcome them, treat, serve, go home. That's it. That's the whole time I was like, this is an ugly guest from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through every time, like the people around me, my parents, my siblings, like alhamdulillah, yani everybody, Dr. Kamal, yani this unknown person that till this day I haven't met, like everybody like telling me, like trying to like make me stronger. I still remember my mom, she told me, I don't want to hear you cry. I want you to walk through this وانتي رافعة راسش. Wallah al-azim. So the whole time when my son is a really bad condition, I'm calling to hear about my other son, and I can't, but I'm holding down my tears because I don't want to show my weakness to my mom because I want her to be strong for my other child. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was too much from both sides. Like when the doctors tell you can't breastfeed your child, it's either you stay with the child with chemicals or you go out and breastfeed. I couldn't give him any my breast milk. Always I fed him for 2 years, and I wanted to do this, and my plan was to do the same thing for Salim.
It's like that guilt.
Yeah, until now I feel guilt. You know, Salim, I took him back. I saw him when he was 9 months old.
Wow, that was the first time you
Yeah. So, subhanallah, I surrendered to Allah. At that time, I was like, رفعت يدي, and I was like, Ya Rab, هذه أمانتك. If this is what you want him, you brought him, take him, بس أسألك إن to give me patience, صبرني, and let this be as easy as it can be for any mom. And if you want to keep him from me, I will do my best to like protect him, what I can do. بس خلاص, I lifted my hand. Wallah al-azim, once you surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's when you start seeing the end of the tunnel. That's when you start seeing, خلاص, Allah gives you start coping with it. After that, I started coping with, خلاص, my life right now is in the hospital. My house, my room is this room. This bed, this window, this kitchen, this sink, in this bathroom. This is my life right now. And as COVID, we can't even go outside. Oncology patients, they have like, especially pediatric, they have like fun zones and that. But with COVID, he was not even allowed to step out of the room. So as a child, the 2.5-year-old, he's sitting in bed. All he knows is watching TV or think. But wallah al-azim, once I surrender to Allah, Allah started giving me ideas. No, don't let him just sit in bed. Pull him down. Throw a mat on the floor. Give him the toys. Bring the therapist. There was music therapy. There was art therapy. I started asking about all those, Khalas, Awais, you're a kid. Do that, I started acting like a mom, not as, astaghfirullah al-azim, as like, I'm the one who's going to give him life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I started acting like, what do I need to do? As me, as a mom, what do I need to do? To be there to guide him, and that's it. At this moment, Awais, all I can do, I'm sorry, Habibi, I'm just gonna sit around you, hold your hand, make sure you live your childhood life. That's it. Before they give him any chemical, I read Quran. I didn't even trust the thing. كل الوقت I was like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who's gonna, not these.
Yeah.
Wallah. And that's when I started like آمنت بالآية إن مع العسر يسر إن مش بعد العسر يسر. No, Allah brings you hardship and He gives you things. You just have to open your eyes, take away your tears, look at the picture, the full picture, so you can see where is the light in this darkness. Once you find your light in the darkness, hold on to that and live, cope with it. There's a light in the end of the tunnel. Nothing stays for life. There's life and there's death. That's it. Nothing lasts.
SubhanAllah. And sometimes Allah, tests us in a way where we can remember that at the end of the day, Allah has all the power.
Yes.
And they say not to love something too much, because at the end of the day, everything is a gift from Allah. And like you said, if Allah wanted to take him, if it was his time, regardless of how you felt or what you did or anything, it was not going to be the case.
Yeah. He's not mine.
Yeah.
I and that's what I was like so thankful that my husband was not the one who was there with me, because he would have made me weak.
Yeah.
Because this is his,
It was everything.
angel. Yeah. It's like he would have made me weak. But at the time, I had to be strong for everybody, including myself. But I couldn't done it like without the help of Allah subhanahu. Who am I? And I'm not there's no such thing as Superman, Batman. No. In life, in real reality, you're your own power. You're your own superhero. You just have to dig deep and know who you are, what you're capable of doing.
I just want to say, my wife just said, heart is so heavy. SubhanAllah, strongest woman I know. Thank you for sharing your story and being so positive. And so I know you mentioned a lot of difficult parts that was going on throughout that whole process. But like, what was like the most difficult one? Obviously, with you just giving birth and breaking your back, and having a son who was dealing with the cancer.
Having a newborn.
You have a newborn, yeah. So it's like, what was like the most hardest part to you throughout that whole process?
The hardest part, it's when I was I had to be sent home, and then I get a phone call from the doctors to tell me that that there's nothing else that they can do, and if I want to come and say goodbye. Because there's nothing like else, like literally there's no any medications that they can give him through the mouth, because his whole mouth was burned. Like they had to like fly a tunnel from I forgot what other state, the helicopter IV tunnel, because they can't give him oral tunnel or suppository tunnel. So they had to, I never knew, as a nurse, I did not know there's IV tunnel existed until like, okay, we have to give him IV tunnel, but the hospital did not have it because they don't normally use it. So they called it in from different hospitals.
How long from when they told you that till he finally got better? Like, how long was that time?
Like, subhanAllah, once they told me that, automatically, like, alhamdulillah, at that time, like, I was already, like, processing and healing better. So I just told my dad right there and then, my dad and my brother, I was like, you guys need to take me. I need to go. So they took me, and I remember I was wheeled in from the male lobby to the room. And then when I arrived to the room, I saw everybody was already around Awais. And I saw Awais like a whole different person. He was not my son, like a whole different.
Even more than when you were there?
Worse.
Oh,
he was worse. Like, his head was 10 times bigger than his whole body. His mouth, worse. Like, I can show you pictures. Worse. Like, I walked in, I looked at my husband. I'm like, who is this? My husband was like a thing, and then the nurses were already crying, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, and I was like, just put me next to him. At this time they were already wailing him to the ICU. And then the nurse was like, I think we just need to put Mom next to him. So they managed to help me, like, to sit next to him, lay down next to him while they were wailing the bed. And he was just looking at me, and I was looking at him. I was like, I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do. I just went upstairs with him to the ICU, and he was like, at that time he had fever, he was shivering. And as a mom, when your son has a fever, you want to cover him. I couldn't, because to them it's like, oh, you're still making him more hot. So I was like, no, I need to cover him. He was just looking at me and shivering and so much pain and Awais. He potty trained himself. Like, he was, mashallah, he was 10 months old, and he didn't want to use diapers. Diapers was like a big phobia to him. And then when he saw me, he looked at the diaper. He was like, Mommy, I don't want diaper. Like, I knew, I was like, alhamdulillah, like, I still knew, like, Allah gave me a little bit of a sign, like, it's still a waste, because I know my son doesn't want a diaper. And then when the nurses like brought him to me, it was that image I cannot like. It was a totally different person, and there's nothing I can do. It was just like him shivering, and he had like ice packs under him and cool blankets, all these medicines, and his mouth is like drizzling blood, and all this is burn. He couldn't even keep saliva in him, and he's just looking at me and shivering like, Mom, what are you supposed to do? Like, what can a mom do to look at him? Like, I'm supposed to like help you, but I couldn't even look at him. I did not even want him to think. And like I said, always before he sleeps, he loves to sleep like on me and like touch my face. Mama, I want to touch your face. You know, he touched my face, my neck, and then Mama, read the Quran. Mama, you know, the thing. At that time, he wanted me to lay next to him. I couldn't because I was paralyzed. Like I couldn't like get in bed really quick when he needed me, and he was like, Mommy, come, and I was like. And the hardest thing, Allah tied me up. Like it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Like you tied me up, Ya Allah, and at the same time you were showing me this. This is a test to my eyes, to test to my eyes and my husband. يعني هذا هو يعني الامتحان for the parents. It was not امتحان for him. The whole time I was trying to test to play reverse psychology in my life, telling myself my son is not in pain. He's mimicking the pain. He's playing the role perfect. He's a perfect actor, but he's not, because there's nothing. To see your son like that, that's the hardest thing ever. And then alhamdulillah, they had to sedate him. They had to put him to sleep. And subhanallah, that's the time when I surrendered to Allah. And then I was like, Ya Allah, you want him? Take him. He's yours. Before then, I was not expecting or believing that's an option. I was fighting that's not an option. There's no way you can take my son from me. I was fighting with Allah. Astaghfirullah al-azim. There's no way you can take my son from me. You know, I will be the strongest. I will be the best. I will be the mom, the dad, the sister, the brother, everything to him to make him good. I will be the doctor. The doctors don't even know that I was a medical profession. I did not let them know that, because I want them to treat me as a dummy, because you're not going to come and talk to me in a medical. I'm not a pediatric nurse. I don't know the dosing. I don't know anything about oncology. I literally just served it for 3 months to get an A and walk out. So oncology is not my profession. So I was trying to play like the mom that doesn't know anything. But eventually down the line, like the doctor, he was like, okay, tell me, are you a doctor? Because there's no way.
Yeah, your
the things
questions
you're asking us to do that we don't even recall doing, but you want us to do. Or when you're round with us, like every morning when they come and round at 7 a.m., I make sure to wake up and I stand there with them to round. Me and Dr. Kamal on the phone. Like, I need to know exactly, step by step, you know, my son thing. I still remember, like, they were like, one time, like, they had, like, ifs and buts, like, okay, should we discharge him? But he still has that. And I fought for him, like,
to stay.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not discharging my son. I literally had to rent an apartment in downtown next to the hospital for me and my husband, just to, like, you know, swap once in a while, or like if I need to take to go to the bathroom, or, you know, or when they discharge him, literally they like during Christmas they wanted to discharge him, like to, like, you know, they think خلص الكيمو, he feels good right now, his counts. We didn't even last 6 hours. We had to go back, because once he has a fever, he has to go to the emergency room, and there's a big protocol that they have to do. I can't give him Tylenol at home. I can't do nothing for him at home. I have to take him to. He didn't even last 6 hours. So alhamdulillah, like I said, once I surrendered and I believed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one for everything, and Allah, you want him, take him, just give me patience, انزل علي الصبر. And if you want to keep him with me, Allah, this is your amana, I promise I will take care of him. Wallah al-azim, at that moment, I remember one of his doctors, he came to me, and he just, like, he saw me sitting down, he just came and sat next to me, and he just put his hands around my shoulder, and he was like, pray to whoever you want to pray, to whoever you want to believe in. As a doctor, that's all I can tell you right now. Wallah. Awais was in every single service in that hospital, including dental. He was in everybody knew Awais at that hospital. From like, okay, I can't do that. Let me call this other service. I can't do that. Let me call this other service. But alhamdulillah, once I surrendered and his body fought it, and he got up, and like his cells went back up, and and he reacted to it, and the chemo, his body, like they did a port for him for dialysis, expecting, because the cancer started in his kidneys, expecting that he's going to go through dialysis. So alhamdulillah, subhanallah, he didn't have to do dialysis.
Wow, subhanallah.
Because and the nephrologist, he was like, I was expecting right away dialysis, but he showed us different. Wallah al-Azim, I feel like Awais was like an open Quran to everybody in the hospital, because some people, they were like, what did you do? What were you saying when we hung the IV pole? I was like, nothing, I was just reading Quran. I was reading this Al-Fatiha. I would read it more than 360 times a day, because one sheikh told me to do that. I was holding on to everything, and I wasn't like, I'm not a perfect Muslim or anything. But once you're drowning, you hold on to every single thing, even a piece of paper. If there's a piece of paper on the ocean, on the shore, and you're drowning, you can hold on to that paper. So at that moment, I was holding on to every single thing that would, like, people tell me, if you read Surah Al-Baqarah 50 times, I would read it. If they told me read Surah Al-Fatiha 360 times, I would read it. Al-Mu'awwadat, Al-Adhkar, كل حاجة. That's all I was holding on to, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I know He has the power to do it. None of that. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. So he's the one who taught this doctor. What makes me think this doctor is going to save my son? I'm going to go to the bigger authority, right? Like if you go into a job interview and you want this job so desperately, but you're going to have to meet first the manager. This manager was, he was judging you based on his own emotions that day. But you knew you'd be a perfect fit that day. Are you going to give up, or are you going to go to the CEO? If you're smart, you'll go to the CEO, right? And prove to the CEO you're a perfect fit for this job. That's what I was doing. I was going to the CEO.
It's all great points. Great talking points too, and very deep conversation, and this is the part where I'm like happy that we get to reach to this point, because I do want people to understand why are you sharing this? Why is this important to put it out there? And even throughout that process, I was reading that you were documenting it. Like at a certain point, it hit you like, I should like take note of some of the stuff that's happening. Why did you feel like it was important?
The first thing when Awais was diagnosed and everything was going, I was like, everybody's like, oh, he's 2 years old, and it's a good thing. He's not going to recall any of this. Kids are resilient. They're not going to remember. He's not, and then I was like, alhamdulillah. So this is my own memory. Me, my family, my husband, this is our memory. Why am I going to let him relive the memory that he didn't, Allah chose him to have at a young age? Who am I to like things? So I was like, khalas, whatever's happening here, nothing is going to have any recalls for that. Like he would know he was diagnosed, but that's it. But then when I start seeing Awais going through what he went through, going through the pain that I or anybody like strong or anything cannot handle. Like when we get cold sores, khalas, we look for anything to, like, we can't even move or anything, right? He had all those like sores in his mouth. He was bleeding. He was everything. And I was like, I can't even handle that pain. And then one night when he was like throwing up blood and pooping blood and like coding, and the doctors are all over him, and he came back out of it. And I looked at him, and then I was like, no, la wallah, I need to document this. I need to have proof for him that one day I know that he's going to be a teenager and he's going to come crying to me, Mom, my friend did this to me. Mom, this does hurt. Mom, this, I cannot deal with this. Life is too hard. And I can bring that out to his face. I'm like, look, Awais, what you did at a 2-year-old. If you can handle this, nothing else in life can beat you now. You're stronger than ever.
That deserves.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because that's.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I need to show him because he's still going to live his life. He's still going to be a normal person. We have our ups and downs. You know, there's people that cannot handle pain. There's people that, you know, think, khalas, it's the end of the world. I'm going to commit suicide. I'm thinking, what makes me think what my son is going to go through? I need to show him because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him through this for a reason. There is a reason for everything. And I know Awais has a reason. He has a reason. I'm going to connect my dots later on, and I need proof. So I started taking pictures. I started documenting every single move, every single minute. I would write on the door. It was glass. So I would have my markers. I would write exactly step by step what chemo treatment he's going to have today. And I would check off points. And then the doctors and nurses come in, check in. I had it all like in the spot. Ask me if I go back to it now, no. Like I can't. Like I can't go back to it. Like looking back at it or anything. I don't need to. But I need to have it there. Just in case, God knows what in the future. Maybe Allah alam, inshallah, this kid can one day save a lives or hold even a mom that is going through what I went through.
Give her hope.
I want him to give that mom evidence.
And hope.
And hope. People not go based on evidence. They don't go based on words or things. Oh, well, you don't know nothing. Oh, yeah, I don't know nothing. This is me.
Yep.
Look at me, you know. At this time, I did this. At this time, I died and I came back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I started documenting and having his life that 8 months in a Wikipedia.
So I'm sorry to ask you again. So like within those 8 months, when did you give up, and when did he finally fully recover? Like what was it? Did it just happen in a day where everybody was just like? How was it? Slowly they started seeing progress?
Yes, like I said, the first 3 months were the toughest because his body was already like, there was no clear cells in him. It was all cancer cells in him. So once they injected him with all those chemo, drugs, chemicals, his body was fighting really bad, like really, really bad, like to the point where he cannot handle it. Like
and you were still there those 3 months?
Yeah. The first 2 months I was there.
Okay. Then you broke your back?
Yeah, and then I broke my back when he was like on his 3rd round of chemo. And then I broke my back, and then that's when I was like, I have to go home. I went home for a week, I think a week and 2 days. And he was with his dad. At that time, he was getting worse and worse. And I was at home. Like, my son didn't leave the ICU. Through the whole time I was at home, my son was at thing. So at that time, I felt like Allah was challenging me even more. Like, not only physically, but mentally and physically, everything. I was destroyed.
Emotionally?
I was destroyed. Because when my husband FaceTimed me, showing me my son, I'm not there even to hold his hand. It's the big, big factor. But then when that happened, like when they called me and then I had to go back, alhamdulillah, he showed him the miracle at that moment when his body started recovering and his cells regenerated and he started like accepting the chemo. He didn't have to do dialysis.
Yeah.
And then khalas, it became...
That was like 4th month? The 4th month? Oh, wow.
Khalas, it became a habit. Awais was already adapting. This is my new life. This nurse, all his nurses, he had one nurse that was his favorite. He called her his girlfriend. Oh. Because that was his favorite nurse. And then I still remember one time she came and she just met a new boyfriend and then she wanted Awais approval.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
then she was like, I think he's going to propose to Awais. And Awais started crying.
Oh.
Because that's all, like he was, the nurses and the doctors, everybody was already attached to Awais. That's our atmosphere that day. Even his radiologist, he was going on a break, on a vacation, and then he wouldn't take his vacation. He was like, my wife is gonna hate you and she hates you, but I can't leave Awais. Because one time...
Like that's like, it makes you, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's special.
Yeah. See, when he first was diagnosed, my uncle, he's a doctor in Washington, and my other, they were like, no, helicopter, I will bring him right now, take him to the Mayo Clinic, to St. John, thing. You know, they already misdiagnosed him. No, we're on it. And I had all my family like, no, we're ready to take him. 1, 2, 3. And then I had that one doctor, he was like, listen, your son is diagnosed with this kind of cancer, and you're lucky that this doctor, the head of the oncologist floor, he was one of the protocol founders for this. So if you go to a different hospital, his name is going to be on the protocol that they're going to do. And he's here physically. You know what I mean? The whole time, my husband and we didn't have any why did we move to Indiana?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Subhanallah.
We didn't move to Indiana for anything specific. We just wanted to move because we thought okay, when we got married, we stay out of your family, we stay out of my family, and so we can have a mind of our own and live our own first path, you know?
Yeah.
And he was in school, it was just worked out there.
Yeah.
Now we know why we moved to Indiana. Subhanallah. See, this is one of the
Hada
dots that you
qadarullah.
connected. I was and then I thought about it, I was like, you know what? No, subhanallah, Allah brought me here for no reason. I had no excuse to leave Michigan. You know what I mean? I was strongly attached to my family and all my, we're third generation in Michigan. You know what I mean? I came to Indiana for a reason. I'm going to stick to it. And I told my uncle, no, I'm going to stay in Indiana and I'm going to let my kid take care of the business here. And like I said, everybody, one time one of the radiologists, on-call radiologist, he misread his x-rays. And I read it before the doctors read it. And the intern doctor came and she read it, pretty much told me that there's another part of cancer in him or something like that. Yeah.
That's a big mistake.
And that was at night, and I freaked out. I went crazy. And then the doctor on call, she called the doctors. They were off work and thing. They all came in. They all came in at 3 a.m. to make sure that what they read, it's not, it was taken care of. That radiologist, he was like, okay, I'm not going to let this happen again. I'm the one who's going to read Oasis Labs. Because he had to take x-rays and CAT scans and MRIs back to back to back to back. And if somebody new going to come read it, they have to go to the previous chapter.
Yeah.
And missing one word can make a big difference.
100%.
So he was like, I'm not going to let anybody miss thing. I have to read his labs all the time. And alhamdulillah, by the khalas, we adapted to it. And then he started his chemicals, they started going in and out, and he would have his bad days and his good days. We couldn't leave the hospital because he has febrile and his viruses. He had COVID. Around that time, COVID, my son has...
Their immunity is not...
Yeah, so they were trying to prevent him from having COVID because they don't know anything about COVID then. So they were like, if he gets COVID, we don't know how to react to it and how he would get to it. And so he alhamdulillah, the things that after that, the challenges that we were dealing with was him getting fevers and, fearing that if he gets fever, it gets to fungal infection. Fungal infection is really bad. It's one of those that gooey and sticks to the cancer cells. And it's so hard to detach from the cancer cells. And that's what mostly cancer patients die from, septic, from fungal or any kind of infection like that. So that was my fear, anything. But subhanallah, Allahumma lak alhamd, when my son was in the ICU room, I would step out of the room, his room, and go and walk through all the other rooms and seeing all those other patients that has seizures, lifetime sickness, heart defects, stuff broken ribs, broken hand, stuff that they have to deal with life. Wallah, I would go back to my room, to my son, and good. Shukr lillah. I was like, alhamdulillah, this is a temporary thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what is cancer? I dealt with cancer like it's nothing because I know it was in and out. I was just asking Allah through the whole time, Ya Allah, don't leave any marks. They wanted to put an NG tube in Oasis because he refused to eat or thing. I fought it. I was like, there's no way you're going to show me my son is sick.
Once you put an NG tube in, it's gonna خلاص enough. I can see he's a cancer patient. But once you put the tube in, it's gonna be proven. I was like, no, I will deal with my son. Wallah al-azim, the nurses would give me his medicine and his food, and they will close the door and walk out. And then they hear me screaming. And then people who's like, mom is dealing with Owais. I don't care. I would scream at him. I threatened him I would leave. I would think, but I know you're going to take this medicine. You want the NG tube? And I would show him videos. Owais, this is what you want? You want them to do this to you? And
He's
like, no.
2, mashallah.
And he would take his medicine. After like one medicine would take me 3 hours. It's okay. It's okay. I don't have nothing else to do. That's my entertainment, you know. But don't put an NG tube on my son's nose.
This is very impressive, mashallah. The will and the strength of a mom is being displayed right now. And Yusuf, we're gonna go ahead and run our next ad, and then we're gonna move into the shout outs. You know, we're gonna give you a chance to give some people a shout out that maybe you didn't get a chance to do it publicly of support. And also some motivation for you, and then like what's going on with Owais' life today, you know. So we want to hear more about that too. So before we do that, we're gonna give a shout out to Balkan House, Yusuf. So shout out to the Balkan House restaurant, and then we are gonna move on to the last third of this show. So shout out to the Balkan House.
You know what, Yusuf, man? I'm in the mood for some Balkan food.
Yeah, man, me too.
Well, you know, there's no better place to go for Balkan than the Balkan House restaurant. The Balkan House restaurant is famous for their doner kebab sandwiches. But did you know that the Balkan House now serves breakfast? Did you also know that all their food is 100% halal? There are currently 2 Balkan House locations, one in Hamtramck and one in Ferndale. But they now also have
ND
2
Kamal
food
Khalil.
trucks, so you can book your next party or event with the Balkan House on wheels. If you're looking for a nice place to eat with friendly service and great prices, look no further than the Balkan House restaurant.
Call from
Dr. Kamal.
Brother Kamal, what's going on? We're back live. I'm assuming you're tuning in because I did send him the link right before we got live. Brother Kamal, first of all, how are you? How's everything?
No, I'm not listening. People actually listen to this?
No, I actually.
Is this live?
Yeah, I don't know why they would. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I got your link. So I'm figuring out this technology crap to call in.
Yeah.
So can the lady hear me?
Everyone can hear you right now. We're all listening. She's mentioned your name a couple times. I gave you a shout out as well as the connector, but hearing the.
Wait, hold on. I'm live.
Yes,
I can
sir.
get shout outs.
Yes.
Quick shout out to the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Afra al-Masmari. Ishaq Ismail. Happy birthday, Ismail. It's my son's birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I gotta go quick because I got a life. So I'm gonna talk quick. So can I get the platform for a minute?
You can have it for 3 if you want it.
3? Okay, listen. I hold a lot of animosity towards the community for several reasons. Because there's been an epic failure when it comes to the opioid epidemic. There's been an epic failure when it comes to mental health. There's been an epic failure when it comes to, we lost our akhlaq. We care more about the League of Legends basketball league than we do one another. And this makes us mentally, well, the R word, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the R word on the air. But let me tell you something. Can Owais' mom hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Listen, the first thing when I deal with Arab patients that they give up is their faith. That's the first thing they do when they give up their faith. I don't know this lady. I've never seen her. She could be 7 foot tall with green hair and I don't know. But I know her son because her son is my son. Did she tell you the time her husband fell? Like he kind of fainted?
Yeah.
Did she say the time that she kind of fell in the hospital, her back gave out?
Yeah.
I laugh at that. The reason why I laugh at that is what other masiba can befall this lady, right?
Yeah.
What else can fall on her? And the only thing you can do besides pray is laugh, because it's okay, why doesn't she go get hit by a car as well? Let's make the situation a little bit more severe. But I will tell you this girl, till this day, I don't know how we met, but till I died, this is my sister. Because I'll tell you why. There are people who deal with stuff irrationally. I'm one of those ignorant people. There are things in our life that we deal with emotionally, and our emotions get the best of us. I'm one of those ignorant people. There are people who are just unequivocally unintelligent and hyperactive. I am one of those people. There's a few people I learned stuff from. One is Afra al-Masmari, but two, whatever Oasis mom's name is, from Oasis mom, I learned something. And in the Quran, it says, "Ba'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, inna Allaha ma'as sabirin." This chick, I'm sorry, this sister of mine is extremely patient. That I'll tell you this: she used to send me videos and pictures of a son that was clinging on for life. I deal with cancer on a regular basis. And I gave this lady probably every wrong opinion in the book, and she's wondering why in Sam hell did I call this Pakistani fool. But she still remained dignified. She still remained intelligent. And she still remained that loving, caring mother. The only problem Oasis' mother has is this, and it's a big problem right now. Now it's on her shoulder. Now it's on her back. I can provide you with the data of people from Kuwait, Iraq, Yemen, Syria, Iran, the entire Middle East of the cancer rate, how children don't have 1/100th of what Oasis had. They don't have his capabilities, they don't have his technologies, they don't have his treatment. I challenge this lady with the millions watching around the globe, right, Omar? Millions?
Close.
I challenge this lady, how you saved your son's life. You use the knowledge you gained to go save every damn kid there is, because that's who you are. That's what you're capable of doing. And that is what your goal is now. You know, I'll tell you this. Once again, let me bring up my criticism. I'm 41 damn years old, and let's be honest, I'm pretty freaking adorable. But there's got to come a time and place where you got to kind of stop worrying about, oh my God, I need to go hoop. Oh my God, I need to do this. Oh my God, I need to sit with the boys. Because I'll tell you this. During that year and a half that I knew this lady gave up her life. Her husband, who is, I don't even know his name. His name is, I used to call him Frank. I haven't saved this Frank. Salman. I don't know why I haven't saved this Frank. They gave up their lives. They gave up their ability to even think to save a soul. And these are the types of people we need. Let me tell you this. We come up with this stupid, ignorant number of 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, that we got this stupid Sahur festival that we go to in Shahru Ramadan, that we're going to start lighting up Ramadan trees in our house. I don't need 1.6 billion people. I need the 313 that fought in the Battle of Badr. I'm not one of those people. Oasis' mom is one of those people that would have fought alongside Rasulullah, because why? She believed. And that is what I learned from her. You understand me?
Hey, we give him a round of applause. So.
Wow.
And I know, Brother Kamal, this speech was not ready. It is just straight from the head and straight from the heart. So this is straight up from him. And
Let me tell you how I was
No,
introduced.
if this was planned, I would have started out with "A'udhu billahi min shururi," and then I would have tried to impress you with my knowledge base. But no
His
offense,
humor
who the hell are you?
kept me
We ain't
calm.
nobody.
yeah,
We ain't nobody.
Yeah.
Hey, Brother Kamal, we appreciate you, and we
Thank
appreciate the
you.
connection. And in all honesty, thank you for everything, brother.
Hey, real quick, you watched Michigan game yesterday?
I did, and it was a good game for Michigan. I'm a Michigan State guy, but it was a good game for Michigan.
Haram alaik. Okay. Well, bless you, child. And anyways, I gotta go celebrate my kid's birthday. Happy birthday, Ismail.
Thank you.
Happy
And happy
birthday.
birthday, Smile.
Happy birthday, Smile.
Till this day.
Hey, Oasis mom.
Hey.
Oasis mom.
No.
Listen,
I,
add me on MySpace.
do they still have my stuff?
I think he's just messing.
Hey,
You're a funny guy, Brother Kamal.
He still wants me to
I'm
write
gonna
a
bounce
book.
now, guys.
He's
All right.
pushing me.
No. No, she's not gonna write the book. Steve Urkel is playing me in the movie. That's all I know.
There you go. There you go. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
You guys don't know who Steve Urkel
We
is.
do.
We do. Family
Guys.
matters. Family matters.
Oh damn! Shoot, never mind. Damn, my bad.
what
All right, guys.
was his famous line? Urkel had a famous line. What was it?
What's up? No.
Did I do that?
Yeah,
Did I do that? There you go.
There it is. There you go. All right, man. Well, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's sound like
Salam. Shout out to Brother Kamal, great guy. And so that kind of leads to my question, right? Which is, you know, give us some names, people that you want to be like, man, this person right here, this person. I mean, obviously you got the nurses, you got the doctors, but like maybe some people, I mean, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, but people that like showed up when you needed them most.
Subhanallah, like, you know, when Allah put you in hardship or anything, He also, like, everything around you becomes like in the challenge, like it filters you. Like, you think you're going like your same routine every day, you're going in same people, same family, same work habits, everything, same thing. But then when something different hits you, it filters you, and it filters you from the good and the bad. It filters you from the people that you think they're good but they're bad, or you think they're bad and they become good, and introduce you to some other people that it can be a lifetime warranty, you know. And that's what I knew when Awais was in his sickness. Subhanallah, it showed me people and humble people, and like what a true Muslim needs to do at that time. It's not about, oh, I hate you, I love you, I have something against you. At that time, it's you amiling Allah. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if your brother in Islam is going through hardship, give him a dua, or give him a sadaqah, or give him, like, ask how he is doing. You know, that's the sunnah. When I went through what I had to go through, and those people around me did that, it made me realize what a big difference and impact does it make. Yani, subhanallah, Dr. Kamal was one of them. Like, one of my friends, she's here in Michigan, her aunt went through cancer, and he was one of the mentors for them and thing. And then she was like to me, hey, can you call this doctor? He's here and he's really good. Like, he has cancer, experience and thing. At that moment, you know, like I said, you hold on to anything. I'm like, okay, give me his number. I called him and I was like, oh, you don't know me, but one of my friends and my son is going through that. Automatically, he just, like, with his sense of humor, he was like to me, let me talk to the doctors. And then I was like, okay, yani, what do you need to tell them? And then, subhanAllah, one of the fellow residents went through the same school that he went through.
Oh, subhanAllah.
So first, like, they were talking.
Small world.
Yeah, they were talking about that. But through the whole time, like, I knew she was, like, looking at me and, like, trying to go out. And then she looked at, like, she went open. He was asking her questions to let him know what is Awais' prognosis. Like, what is Awais', like, how is he going to talk to me? Is there hope? Or is he going to prepare me for something different? So he asked her, like, after the fact, he told me, he was like, the first thing that he asked her is, has it reached to his brain or spinal cord? Because once that's, like, very difficult. And then once she told him no, he was like, okay, give me back Awais' mom right away. And then ever since then, like, everything I need, like, if Awais is going through something that I'm, like, when he codes and everything, I call him, like, at 2 a.m. He answers. Wallah al-azim, till this day, wallah al-azim, I haven't met this guy. Yani, he was my angel through the whole time. Like, telling me, okay, step by step, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what's going to happen. You know, giving me, like, motivations. You got this. Go. Your son needs you. Do you want to take a 10 break? I'm willing to come to Indiana. I'm willing to come and give you a break. Wallah al-azim, like, I haven't met this guy. Awais' birthday was in the ICU. When he turned 3, it was in the ICU. He made all his friends, everybody I think that he knows in the book, sent me a voice message on WhatsApp for Awais. Happy birthday, Awais. I'm your friend. He FaceTimed his kids to Awais to tell, like, you know, play with them, like, you know, on his iPad. The small little things. That's his part. And it was a huge part till this day. Wallah, for me, my husband, I need, inshallah, تكون صدقة جارية to the end. يعني the small things that you do think. And there's other people that until this day, wallah, I did not meet. They just knew of me through a friend. Like, I get these ladies, they call me, like, you know, they're students in Indianapolis. They call me and they were like, hey, can you send the nurse down? I brought you some food. And I don't know these people, you know. My family, my uncles, yani, that I love so dearly, like, They gave up like their work. They took all their kids and they came down, and there was no visitors allowed, but they came down to the main lobby. They brought everything into the Target, all the toys in Target for Awais. Shipments every single day. My friends and my family, like toys, the room, like every day Awais receives a package. You know, my sisters, Allah yahfadhin, like my sisters, I have 5 sisters, including me. You know, my parents, they're like the legend, you know. They gave out their life for 4 months straight. My dad gave out his work, his everything. And he came and he moved into my house, him and my mom, to take care of my child so they don't take my baby away from me that far. And if I need anything, my dad will be there. Yani, alhamdulillah, if it wasn't for my dad and my mom, wallah al-azim, I don't know if I... يعني subhanallah, alhamdulillah, يعني I realized the benefit of having parents, because nobody else in this world is going to take care of you emotionally and physically on hardships except your parents. Like, I remember my mom, I know my mom was like weak, and I know my mom was sad, and I know a thing, but when she calls me and she's like to me, Ya Habla, are you serious? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Your son is going to be okay, you know? And she forces me not to cry, you know? And then she tells me the stuff, you know, when I came home and I had a broken back, my dad fell down, you know, when he saw me, like, he saw me how I saw Awais, you know? And it was so hard for him. But they were there supposed to be for 1 week and go back. They didn't know that they were going to stay there for 4 months. My sisters, they took turns every week. One of them come down from Michigan to stay with my mom, to give my mom company. Each one took a week, you know, back and forth. They took their family, their kids, and they came and stayed with my mom a week. My aunt, which is my uncle's wife, she gave out her life and stayed with my mom for 3 months to give my mom company. Yani, alhamdulillah, this is when, you know, real family stand by you. You know, my aunt came down from Michigan, my uncle's wife. Like, these are not like, you know, blood, you know. Think.
My marriage.
Yeah. She came down, she made me everything there is in the Yemeni menu book.
Because, yeah, comfort food.
Everything. She came down, and then, you know, she was like to her husband, she was like, I still remember when I went down to meet them at the outside, and then she was like, Samar, do you have money? I was like, yeah, I don't need it, I'm here. She was like, no, give her right now, 1,000. Like, to her husband. This is my uncle, she's telling him, you know, right now, give her. I was like, I don't need it, I don't need it. She was like, no, you're gonna keep it with you. يعني why ما حد يعني nobody told them to do any of that things, but that what their Muslim morals comes out, and that's when you know when the people to keep next to you, friends, family. Like there's some family members that didn't even bother to call me or anything. Those are the ones خلاص يعني it's no matter what you do, you're filtered out, because it's not about me anymore. It's the way you treat Allah.
Yeah.
The people that don't fear Allah, you don't want them in your life. And it's not about me and you, hate, love, relationship. That's all play game. This is all dunya. It's about akhirah. You do not fear Allah, I'm not going to fear you, because I know you're not going to fear me. The hardest ship, you're not going to, what do I need you for then? You know, كل مزح. It's all going to be a joke. And I'm not, you know, whatever to my heart's always in my face.
Yeah.
So, like the nurses, the doctors, like I said, you know, all of them, like,
his girlfriend.
Yeah. She's so cute. She, till this day, she keeps in touch with him. Like, one day we came back and up, because now he goes like for annual visits and that. And
Do you
then,
get nervous when you go to his annual visits?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He gets like, he tells me, Mommy, my stomach hurts. I stop. It's not an ending.
Triggering.
My younger one, he gets a flu. I'm like, it's okay, your immunity is gonna grow. But always when he tells me, Mommy, my eye hurts, this hurts, خلاص, different things coming in my mind. All these question marks. يعني, also, always, his cancer is in one pile, and what happened to him after the cancer treatment is another pile. His lungs went bad. after, like 3 months after his treatment, he started desatting. He couldn't stay still without, he was desatting. He couldn't stay without oxygen. And they did everything. They didn't know what was going on with him. Like literally, he was in the ICU with the vent and he was still like desatting. They did MRI thing, nothing improved. They were like, we're sorry, we have to take your son. Like the surgeon came and she was like, I need to take your son right now to the OR to take a piece of his lung and to see what is really happening with your son, because nothing is showing us what is going on with Uwais. But maybe he's gonna come out and we can't detach anything away from him. The vent, he probably does not want to be extubated because his lungs will be resting, and this is what they want. He's gonna come out with tubes. Everything wrong in the book, they told me your son's gonna have it when he comes out. What do you expect? And here's the paper sign. I looked at them and I'm like, Wallah al-Azim, I'm not joking right now. Subhanallah, يعني the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نزل علي ديك الساعة, that time, Musa alayhi salam came to my mind when his mom threw him in the river. She knew he was gonna die. She doesn't know that she's gonna put him in the river. Maybe he's gonna get hit by a cliff or he's gonna drown. But she knew that was the only thing that's gonna save him. She threw him in the river because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told her to do so. And I was like, and who am I? I was like, give me the paper, let me sign. I didn't even drop one tear. My husband was like, he was like, why are you so strong like this? Your son, he's, you know. And I was like, mind your own business. I already got my message. Beed Allah. Allahu al-Amin. He's going to come out and he's going to be fine. Don't worry about him.
So you kind of touched on this where, afterwards, but, you said he's 6. He still has random visits, right? What is it, once every 4 months, or what is it?
No, alhamdulillah, now it's once every year.
Once every year,
Yeah.
okay. So
the first year, for 5 years, it's remission.
Yeah.
Right now, he's in remission for 5 years.
And this is what, year 2 or 3?
He's entering year 3.
You're entering year 3.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. First year, it's every 3 months, and then every 6 months, and then every year.
For the next 3 years.
Yeah, for blood work, he goes and does blood work. And when it was every month, it was so hard because he would go and get blood work, and they would poke him all the time. And then every 3 months. Now, last year when I tried to let him live like a normal kid life, I tried to put him pre-kindergarten, and so he can get back to self-confidence and playing with the kids, and no ways you can do this, you can run. And he had to see physical therapy because it was hard for him to move, and his pelvic, a lot of damage to his and he loved to play soccer. He was a big soccer player. This is what he wanted to do. And whenever I give him a ball, because he knew it.
Probably gets tired too, and
Yeah, and like I said, with his lung problems, but now that's when it was 3 months, and then he was like, why me? He would when I take him to the lab, and he starts crying, mommy, why me? Why this kid does not do? Why my friend Hamoudi doesn't do? And I was like, mommy, because you're the strongest, you're the thing, and we just need to know. He calls his blood strawberries. You're getting too much strawberry. He would when he had the PICC line over here, he knew how to take care of it. When he was diagnosed, they didn't give it a chance to move his port. They would have it inside his skin so it doesn't show. They didn't even have the chance to do so because they had to shoot him with chemical really quick. So they just did a PICC line. So halfway through his treatment, they said, okay, let's move it, the port to inside. Then the doctor was like, no, Uwais is already comfortable with the PICC line. He's the one who tells the nurses how to clean it, and he take care of it. When I wash him, he doesn't want nothing around it. He knows how to take care of it. So the whole time, till now, he would he has marks over here. He was like, oh mom, remember when I had this, and then the doctor did this and this. So he the small little things that he remembers.
very smart.
But alhamdulillah.
Now he goes to school, and so
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Always, he just turned 6 years old on December 1st, and he's in Taekwondo now.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Mubarak.
yes. He's a fighter. He thinks he is gonna run the world.
As he should.
Yeah, he thinks he's gonna be a scientist.
He will.
Whatever he wants.
One time he came and told me, he was like, "Mom, what makes more money, a dentist or a police officer?" I was like, "Ooh, wait. Why is it about the money?" He's like, "Well, Mom, because I need to pay this, and this." I was like, "So you think you're gonna be a dentist right now?" He was like, "Mom, you're not thinking like me. You're not thinking." I was like, "Obviously, I'm not." So
Mashallah.
now he's at the phase where he wants to be a scientist, so he can build stuff like, I don't know what he's watching on Roblox, or I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Listen, he's a legend already in my book.
Yeah. We might have to get him on the show next time.
For sure.
Have him tell his story. Probably gonna have a whole show about it, and he'll know what he's talking about too. Mashallah, Allah Mubarak.
Inshallah.
First of all, I'm gonna, do the little follow us and do this while you prepare the Motivate Me 313 minute. And basically, we're gonna be asking you, which is, what advice would you give to parents out there that the kids might be diagnosed with cancer, so you can prepare that. And I bet my phone storage is full, so if you can put it on your phone. I mean, there's so many clips that we could put out. So this is the clip that we typically pull out, and we post it on Instagram and Facebook, just to let people know, like, hey, we went live. So that's why she's recording it. But I don't even know if I'm going to take this clip, because there was a couple of good ones throughout the show that you had as well. But with that said, first of all, this was, shout out to Oais. She did an amazing job today, be sure to follow us on all of our socials. You got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all under Oz Media. You can listen to the show later on Apple and Spotify podcast under Oz Media. We thought that this would be a great show, as well as always, because, we don't know who people out there are going through, and parents out there especially, that don't know, or they feel like they're alone in this situation. And we know how it is in the Arab and the Muslim Yemeni community, how we kind of like are not comfortable with sharing personal information about our families. So maybe this helps one or two people out there. Who knows? Share it to them. This can give them that hope that they may need, and so that was the whole goal of today's show. Got to give a shout out, of course, to the sponsors as well. You got Juice Box, Balkan House, BC Adhesives, Qahwah House, Hanley International Academy, and I think I forgot one more, I believe, and that is Qahwah House, or Specialty Medical Center. All right, so shout out to those sponsors as well. Now comes the Motivate Me 313 minute parts, which is basically, like I mentioned, what advice do you have for any parent out there who has a kid that has been diagnosed with cancer? What would you tell them?
Like, subhanallah, it's when Awais was first diagnosed, a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, don't tell nobody," Aql al-Yemeni and how they think. And I was like, no, you never know whose prayer is going to be answered. Da'wat man batastajab. You know how many people went specifically to make Umrah just for Awais? Just by hearing his story, because it was like a world shocking news to everybody around our family. From my side family, my husband's side family, because first of all, he's 2.5, and second, cancer. Like, cancer means death in every Yemeni vocabulary. So once, he's second and nobody else in the family, khalas, automatically is death. But you never know. Da'wat man, it's going to change the qadr, or it's going to change what it was meant for this person. So just hope for the best. When you go through hardship, that you raise your hand, first of all, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't rely on anything else. Put your trust in Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, Inna ma'al usr yusr. With every hardship, there's an ease. Once you believe in that, don't wait till you get into hardship to believe in that. Take it from me, wallah al-azim. Know that Allah is giving you what you can handle. Nobody is Superman. Nobody is Batman. Nobody is Spider-Man. There is no such thing as superhero. You are your own hero. You just have to know who you are.
I didn't know I'm gonna be my hero of my own book and my child's book until like I believed. I raised my hand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He gave me that power. You're not gonna be capable of doing anything. You're not perfect. Nobody is. I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. But I just asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me to handle the situation right. And when you go in hardship, handle the situation right. When your child is in, no, there's nothing else you can be tested on worse than you be tested on your own child. And when your child is being tested through sickness or illness or terminal thing, just know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent you that child. And if He wants bad for that child, according to you it's bad, take it the other way. No, it's good, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not giving you anything bad. If He wanted to harm us in this life, why would you be alive? Like automatically you will be eliminated. Even the people, unfortunate, like, you know, people in Gaza right now, you think we feel sorry for them. But wallah al-azim, they're handling the situation very well. Because مَا كَلَّفَ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. Allah gave it to them, He didn't give it to you. There's no way you can handle it. There's no way you can handle an intruder coming to your house or taking your child or killing you for no reason or invading your parking lot. But them, they can handle it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them thing. All we can do is ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the strength, to maintain their strength. This is what you always need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Allah, يعني نزلت البلاء دل الصبر. اللهم لا يسر إلا بعد عسر. يعني in my dua that was, I always think اللهم دبر لي أمري فأني لا أحسن التدبير. Yani Allah, guide me to the right path because I don't know what's right and what's wrong for me. I think I'm doing good. I think I know this is good for me, but it's not. You're gonna know. You're gonna connect your dots afterwards. After the fact, this is when you're gonna connect your dots. Okay, this happened to me because of this. Oh, I moved to Indiana because I knew the best treatment my son was gonna get in Indiana, Riley, because the doctor that was part of the protocol for this, He's right here. And what more do I want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah put me in the ICU. I thought my son was the worst case scenario. He told me go out to the bathroom. I walked through the rooms. I saw kids with seizures. I saw kids with heart defects. I saw kids with burns. I saw kids with like every single day. It's going to remind you of like pain. I walked back to my room and I sajadtu lillah. Cancer, death, you know, Yemeni death, you know. I sajadtu lillah. Because wallah al-azim, you guys, يعني, give the benefit to the doubt to anything. And it reminded me to be humble. يعني, الآن nothing else in the world can bother me. Wallah al-azim. You want to be mean? It's okay. Deep down inside of you, you're nice. That's how I treat everybody now. Wallah. Because I don't know what's your situation. The other day I was driving, this one white guy, he was like, bah, 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 bah. And I just looked at him and I'm smiling. Because I don't know what he went through the moments before he walked to me and talked. It's not my situation. It's not my problem. It's his problem. All I can do is smile. Because Usuli told me to this, I'm not treating you for an eye to an eye. I don't believe in that. I believe what my usul, what my dignity, what my morals tell me to do for you. So I can teach you how to treat me. What I want to be treated is how you're going to be treated. This is like life lesson. Wallah. Yani, don't wait until life hits you or Allah gives you a bad test to know that He does exist. Or He's your main source. He's your CEO. That's it.
I love that, Yusuf. You want to go ahead and give that a round of applause?
Listen, I just want to say that, you know how I say everything happens for a reason?
Yeah.
So you were supposed to be on the show the week before, right?
Yeah.
And I missed that show because I was in Dallas.
Well, she would have missed it if it was in person, but it was virtually. Remember I told you?
But subhanAllah, I guess something happened in your schedule.
Yeah.
I am so happy that I got to sit here and be, you know, in your presence and listen to your story because, you know, we all need reminders.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah. The reason why I didn't attend, it's one of my friends, one of my good friends. She was a medical student in IU, and last year she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And يعني alhamdulillah she was doing good through everything, and she died last week.
الله يرحمها.
يعني alhamdulillah it hit us like a wind, and يعني we think you know there's alhamdulillah always has a good ending, a happy ending. Allahumma lak alhamdulillah, inshallah continues. Her ending to our vocabulary, it's not a happy ending. يعني she left 2 girls behind, a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old, with no family here. She's been away from her family for 7 years just to study here, her and her husband. Now her daughters and her husband are going to go back to her family without her. To us, this whole scenario, it's a heart killing. It's bad. It's a bad ending. But wallah al-azim, the way she died, it was hisn al-khatima. It was the best thing for her. Yani, I'm not worried about her because I know yani, she died smiling. I had to ghusl her in my hand. You know, the way she died in my hand, it's not the same way when I did ghusl for her. It was totally different. When I did ghusl, her smile, wallah al-azim, was from here to here. At that moment, I let go. I was like, my friend, you're in a better place. Wallah al-azim, this is your happy ending. Don't think, oh, because there's the ending, it's not how I planned it. She, wallah al-azim, till I can show you her text message. Like a day before she died, she was in the hospital. Till that day, she had faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's going to make her feel better. Wallah, she was like to me, any mu'min in Allah, He's going to get me out of this. I know for a fact He's going to, as if like there's a promises. Wallah al-azim. But then she was like, if they're going to give me another round of chemicals and they're going to like put hardship on me or harm me or anything, Allah yakhud amanta. Let him take his amana. Yeah, his amana. Let him take it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Subhanallah, Allah granted her the best wish that she wanted. Yeah, but that's yani, subhanallah. See, there's like a happy ending and a good ending in our vocabulary book, but in the end, wallah al-azim, it's all
Allah knows best.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, we plan, but Allah is the best planner.
Yeah.
And we have to believe in that.
Yeah.
Any final words from you, Sada? Any final comments?
You kept on talking about like resilience and stuff, and honestly, you're the definition of being resilient. I could barely speak. I can't even like. The whole time you were talking, I was just thinking and like trying to kind of put myself in your situation in a sense, and I'm just like, I wouldn't be even 1/4 of how you took it, and it just shows, it even shows yourself how close you are to your Lord, and it just got you closer, and I know that was your like jihad basically, you know, and mashallah alaysh, like Allah, you know, يوفقكم على خير, and keep Awais and Salim and your husband all healthy and happy.
Inshallah, ya Rabbi.
And for you,
Inshallah.
inshallah.
For you too, inshallah. Yani, like I said, Allah can. If you told me before Awais was diagnosed that I'm gonna like the people that read the future, she told me, oh, you're gonna go through this, and this, and
You'd be like, bye.
I'm like, no, there's no way.
You don't know
I'm
what
not
to
gonna be
talk
even handle it. Whatever you're saying, it's not. There's no way I'm gonna handle that. But subhanahu wa ta'ala, once you're in the situation, trust in yourself. Trust that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to you because you can handle it. Wallah al-azim, by the 5th month of Oasis chemo treatment, I was like, and alhamdulillah, people would see me and like, wait, and they look at me. I'm like, yeah, my son is sick. But alhamdulillah, برعاية Allah.
Yeah.
You know, alhamdulillah, I have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't know what I know. Allah, He gave me things. بعدين شوفي subhanallah, what's my baby boy's name?
Salim.
Salim. What does Salim mean?
Like, he's good.
Protected.
Yeah.
I think good. Right. How did I get Salim's name? Subhanallah. I was 5 months pregnant before I knew it was a boy or girl. It was during Ramadan. It was during the 25th of the Yom Ramadan. And I was reading Quran. And then this is al-ayah illa man ata biqalban salim. I think I read it wrong. And then I was attracted to the ayah. As if I read it for the first time. I kept reading it over and over and over 20 times. My eyes like grew this big. Wallah al-azim, I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful name. My husband was in the kitchen. I screamed so hard. I was like, Salman, He's like,
Oh, his name is Salman.
yeah,
Salim.
yeah.
Ah.
He thinks it's because that. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that.
And then I was like, Salman. He was like, what? He came running. I was like, Wallah al-Azim, if I have a boy in my stomach, I'm going to name him Salim. He was like, okay, that's fine. You know, Salim, it's okay, it's a thing. But why was I attracted to the word Salim? Wallah al-Azim, that ayah was with me through the whole dream of Uwais. Salim. That means Allah was telling me a sign. Listen to the small little, go back to your memory. If you just step out of the funk or like the sad zone or why me, you know, step away, connect your dots, know this and this and thing. Play reverse psychology on yourself. Speak good of everything. You know, insan thuluth ma nutuq. You speak good, you get good. You speak bad, you get bad. That's what I tell everybody right now. I'm like, my sister, she was pregnant, she has 3 girls, and I told her, you're gonna have a boy. Say you're gonna have a boy. She's like, no, it's okay, I can have it. I'm like, no, don't lie to yourself. You want a boy, say it.
Especially when you're making dua, people are gonna realize
say
they
it
need to
because
make
you're
the dua that
asking
they
Allah.
want.
Yes, because you're asking Allah. You're not asking your neighbor. Allah has the power to do whatever you want.
To ask
Who more
to
do
the
you wanna
most.
ask? Yes,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Speak it out. Speak it out. Ask. Don't be afraid. You're asking Allah and be proud of it.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. We typically don't do 2-hour shows, but this went by so
sorry.
fly. No, you're
Yeah,
fine.
no,
honestly.
mashallah,
Mashallah. It went by smooth. And, it's one of those shows where I bet you, people are gonna go back and watch it. They're probably not gonna be able to.
Inshallah,
Click away,
inshallah, inshallah. My whole purpose of coming today, that inshallah this message goes to a mom or a dad or to anybody that's going through any hardship. Doesn't have to be cancer or any sickness or anything. Anybody that's going through hardship, because I was in their situation one day. I was in the situation where I was begging and pleading for anybody to come and tell me my son is going to be okay. Hold on to this. I was begging nurses that would come. Oh, my son was diagnosed with leukemia and he's an engineer now. And I was like, really? Tell me about him. That gave me the smallest little hope. That gave me the smallest little pleading. That day made my day. So inshallah, I just wish, and inshallah, this message goes to anybody that's going through any hardship, to tell them that everything is going to be okay. It doesn't matter what you're going through right now. Just hold on to Allah. Pray to Allah. Wallah al-Azim, there's nothing more than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The atheist, the Jew, the kafir, anybody, once they go through hardship, the first thing they say, oh God, Ya Allah. You get into an accident, what is the first thing you say? Ya Allah.
Yeah.
Atheist, the first thing, they look up. Why? There's a magnet.
Power.
Yes, there's a magnet. Once you hold your hands up high, I don't care who you're holding up to, in the end it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hold on to that. There's nothing else that can save you or make you feel it's okay to live another day than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't give up on yourself and don't give up on what you truly believe in. Islam, alhamdulillah, Allah gave us the Islam and the power to know that whatever we're going through, it's gonna end one day. Either good or bad in our vocabulary, but alhamdulillah, we move on. There's people that their kids die and their thing, but alhamdulillah, they move on. They know how to cope. What makes you think you can cope? Allah made you cope.
Yeah.
You think, because you have one son and 7 girls and that son dies, khalas, you're gonna die? No, wallah al-azim, I seen it with my own eyes. The mom and the dad, they took it so normal. Everybody else around them, they think, oh no, khalas, they're gonna die. But no, they took it so normal. Who made them do that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yep. And remember, Allah tests the ones He loves.
Yes.
The ones that He wants to qarrab alayh. So take it as a good guest, even though it's like a bad, but take it as ni'mah min Allah.
To remind you that Allah exists. And how do you be reminded? By doing wallah al-azim istighfar. Istighfar is a miracle. If I give a message today, I give you one message. Keep your istighfar in your mouth. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. No matter what, if you can do 1,000 a day, that's perfect. Istighfar can make it, whatever you're going through, any hardship, it will make it so easy. It would break it like sheds. Wallah al-azim, istighfar, al-sibah. Keep Allah in your mouth.
Adhkar.
You remember Allah, Allah's gonna remember you.
Yeah.
من فرج على مسلم الله يفرج عليه. Keep smile, give the ease and benefit of the doubt of anybody. Wallah al-Azim,
Be the bigger person.
Yes,
Forgive.
yes,
Don't hold
yes,
grudges. Well,
yes.
it's all of us.
Allah is gonna hire you
Ranks.
until you get to the point where you can see everything is so normal.
MashaAllah عليك.
MashaAllah, for real. And that is, again, a very deep episode. Honestly, I appreciate you again.
So
for
many
coming on.
lessons.
So many lessons. That's one of those that, I hope that you guys get a chance to listen to, even if you're not or don't know anyone that may be dealing with a similar situation. It's just one of those where you can like learn from and, be grateful for what you have and what you have in front of you, and say alhamdulillah, or, thank God for what you have. So this was, again, season 3, episode 16 of Motivate Me 313's podcast. Any final comments you just want to say before you shut it down? I mean, I know you gave us some great speeches, but any last words you just want to say?
No, just thank you for having me, and may Allah make this a sadaqah jari for you guys, and inshallah it becomes a good outcome in the future. Like, inshallah, this is a good stamp for your your intentions. Like, I normally don't go out and speak in public or anything, but I get phone calls like, hey, can you speak to this one lady that her son is just like thing. And I try, like, I don't do nothing else but to tell him what I was put into. Like, I'm not a perfect. I'm not an imam. I'm not a thing. I'm just a regular human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put me in a challenge, and I'm telling you how I dealt with it. And it worked for me, and it might not work for you, but hold on to it. Hold on to it. It's like, I'm not perfect, and I'm not in any way form like الآن على صراط المستقيم والثing. I ask Allah يثبتني على الدين وكل حاجة, بس inshallah my story can make your story go easy. And thank you for everybody, and thank you for you guys. You guys were so good. Like I said, I walked in here, I was like, I'm not even gonna look at the cameras. I'm gonna talk to my friends, telling what I went through. And
Khalas, we're family now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everything. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you all next week. Be safe.